Yo, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to set up your own Rust console edition server on Nitrado. It's not too hard, especially if you already have one on G-Portal. It's pretty straightforward and pretty much the same thing. So obviously first thing you want to go do is go to Nitrado and buy a server. They're pretty cheap right now. I mean, 25 bucks a month is really not bad for a server. Pretty much same as G-Portal. Select your location where you want it. As of right now with this video, I hear East Coast is best, some Miami or New York. So go ahead, buy one of those, and then it's going to take you to a screen like this. This is just going to show you all your servers. If it doesn't, just click on your profile, go to My Services, it'll take you right here. After that, you're going to want to click on your web interface. So that's going to bring you here. This is where you wipe stuff, wipe save, servers, blueprints, full wipe, all that stuff, if you want to do that. But what we're going to do first is go to settings and go to general here. Then we can see here server name, password, platform, all that. So first thing I'm going to do is just stop the server. And then let's just go over some of these things here. So name of your server. What I always do is use this website here, rgbbirdflop.com. I'll put it in the description. We can just type whatever we want for our server name. Utopia 5X. Cool Dudes Only Club. We'll do something like that. And then what we want to do is make sure that your color format is this right here, RGGBB. And the little alligator things with a pound sign or hashtag for the youngins. So you just hit the select down thing right here. Click on RRGGBB. Alright, there you go. That's how you get the colored names and stuff like that. One thing with this that I'll tell you is when we copy all that, when we set our server name, here we go. So alright, so here we go. So when we're looking at it here, we have our name. We can just throw our name right in here like this. But the only thing is when we do it like this, it breaks it up each letter. So people cannot find the server when they're searching for it, only by server ID. So if you are going to use a gradient name, what you always want to do after is put the actual name. So people can search for it, just like this. Make sure you do that, otherwise people won't be able to search for it since it's like B-U. If you see what I mean, it's not actually showing the server name. So definitely put that there. If you want a password on your server, most people don't really do that, so you can put a password if you want. Crossplay, if you want crossplay, I mean, I think that's, I don't even know, you can change that. It's pretty cool, but I always leave a crossplay. Why not let everybody join? Welcome message, first time join, just joined. These all have a little thing underneath them that explain it. So definitely read that. For these, I always recommend putting your Discord in. This one, it don't matter. So again, just go here. There we go. See, I got my Discord right there. I'm just going to copy this over, run back here, put it in for all these right here. So every time someone joins, leaves, anything like that, my Discord's going to be shown in game, which makes more people join the Discord. You build a bigger community. You just want to get it out there because not everybody's always looking at the kill feed or stuff like that. So you just want to get it out there as much as possible for your more people to join your Discord. Admin broadcast, this, always turn it off. If you leave that on, every time you go God mode, every time you spawn something in and stuff like that, it shows in the server chat, so turn that off. Welcome screen, these are really good. A lot of people love using these. I already have a template for one, so I've already set it, but just mess around with them, what you want them to be. Again, you can use this. You can just grab one color if you want. You would just like copy this part right here. And throw that in. If I just want it to be one color, and then I'll say like Discord, join the shop, you know, we got battle pass, all that stuff. You would just put some stuff like this, you know, just the welcome screen and stuff. Pretty self-explanatory. Server rules, if you got rules, you know, like do this, do that. Team tab, again, a lot of these things tell you right under exactly what they are. Like server rules tab, if enabled, rules tab will be shown in the welcome screen to players. This is just if your server has rules. If you don't really care, just turn that off and it won't show this message here. Team tab, same deal. If you want like all the admins and stuff, moderators to be shown, then you could do something like that, but it doesn't really matter. Custom boot commands, I went over this in the G-Portal video. Again, in here, it's so important. Two super huge resources are going to be like the Rust wiki that they got, like console server edition thing. Because all these commands here, basically what the boot command does is just every single time your server restarts or starts up, it runs these commands, so your server always has these commands. So you can there's so many different combinations that this is what really makes servers so unique. This compared with their I need wood, I need scrap, all those kits that they offer and stuff like that, that's really what makes your server unique. So you really got to lock in on your boot commands. And then also, of course, I mentioned the Discord before, the Rust console info and help one. So I was just in here helping a homie in there. The admin part right here, banning items, if you want ban stuff, modifiers, all this stuff. You know, if you want more crude oil coming out, you would just copy this, throw it in the boot command right here. And then where it says scale, let's just turn that up. Usually the max you can go is 3, but we'll just turn that up to 3. Now every time somebody gets crude, it's 3 times. Report cooldown, I mean, that depends on you, what you want to do. Right here, this is pretty cool. Nitrado did this very, very dumb. I don't really even fully understand how like you add monuments and stuff. You have to like click on it, save, click on another one, save. What I always do is just make sure you lock in the max players and the world size. So 3,500, because that's max you could do right now. We'll save all these changes right here. Keep going. Worry about the map in a minute. Now right here, rib, crank that to 1. How many rowboats, stuff like that. So it tells you how many rowboats on the server, stuff like that. The time in minutes for them to decay. You might want to lower this a little bit if you're gonna have a lot of people on your server, if it's super modded, just to help with like take away any lag or anything like that. You know, lower this 35 or something like that. Stability, if you want floating bases and sky bases, turn this off. If you just want normal, like people actually have to build walls and stuff, they can't build as high as they want, you need stability. So I usually leave that on. Radiation, again, if they go to launch, are they gonna get rads? If they go somewhere, they're gonna get rads. So usually just leave that normal. Progress time, if you want time to always just be day and never go on, turn that off. If you want time to be normal, leave it on. Vanilla, 50 minutes for daytime, 10 minutes for night. You could change that to like, you know, a couple hours for daytime, and then like 20-minute nighttime, to really keep it going. Anything like that. So that's up to you. For this stuff right here, like AI, I mean, again, this is up to you. NPC think will bots shoot at you, move around, stuff like that. So if you just want them to stand still, turn it off. If you want them to actually do stuff, turn it on. Navigation, etc. If you want them to ignore player, I've seen people do this. Get a little bit more competition and stuff like that. PvP action over at oil and stuff. You turn off this right here so that people are ignored. So people are just focused on PvP there. But I usually just leave that on. You know, it's part of the element. Junk pile, I've never cranked this up. I don't even know what this would do to a server. I usually just leave it no more than like 1. You know what I'm saying? But 0.1 is more than enough. There's still plenty of barrels and stuff, and depending on how modded you want to go, it really depends. Bears, boars, all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? I usually crank these down just to help with lag and stuff. And then you give some people leather and stuff like that. Leave wolves maybe to 2. Bears a little bit too. A lot of people like getting bears, stuff like that. So that's up to you really. This part right here, immortal server, if you don't want people taking damage and like no PvP at all, then immortal server, turn it on. Game mode, vanilla, easy mode, hard mode. These are pretty cool. Most people leave it on vanilla. Easy mode lets you reclaim half your stuff at outpost, I'm pretty sure, when you die. And hard mode is no team UIs, nothing like that. It's almost like milsim kind of. It's actually crazy. So that's up to you. Vanilla is usually what most people leave it at. PvB, usually leave this on. It's player versus base damage, so can bases be rated? Turn that on. If you don't want any bases to be rated ever, turn it off. PvP, players versus players. So that's kind of like Immortal server. I'm not really sure. Oh, I guess Immortal server is you can't take damage from bots either. PvP, you could take damage from bots, still just not players. Infinite ammo, you could just shoot endlessly with like a fucking minigun or something. Infinite ammo, you could just shoot forever. It's pretty cool. Full starting magazine. Every time you spawn in, you have a fully, or every time you get a gun or craft it or something like that, it's fully loaded. When you craft the rocket launcher, it also comes with a rocket in it, so that's something to think about. Max health they spawn in at, or max health somebody can be, so you could actually crank this up. I don't know how high it could go, but maybe 500, you know, and make people like a juggernaut or something. The max starting health, so if you want people to spawn fully healed, you can set that at 100, and set this at 100. Whoa. Set this at 100 and you're good. But that's up to you. If you just want to leave it normal, leave it normal. Max team size, max you do is 10 right now in game. Not sure why they did that, but limit building authorizations. That just means like max amount of people that can auth on a TC. So if you have team limit servers, that might be something you want to do. It could help. Limit turret auths, that also helps. I usually rather do that. So then you could see it's a lot harder for people to team over the team limit on a server if you turn this on, because they can't ever get auth on the turrets on the base. So kind of screws them. So that's something good for team servers. Items, no starting items. If you spawn in, no rock and torch. If you like rock and torch, just leave that off. Builder's paradise, target practice if you want to make your server one of those. Free crafting, you could just craft anything for free. You don't need mats on you or nothing. Instant crafting, it's spawned instantly. It doesn't take time to craft a TC or a bag or anything like that. It crafts instantly. Unlock all BPs if you want your server to be all blueprints. Workbench override, cranking these up just makes it so if I leave it at 1, that means anybody can spawn, can craft a tier 1 item or below without a tier 1 workbench. So if you crank this all the way up, a player never needs any workbench to craft. They can craft it anywhere. So that's sometimes kind of cool to do. Stackable size, max you do is 3 right now. That just makes it so you could hold more stacks of stuff. Like you'd hold 3k stone instead of 1 on one little spot in your bag. Gather scale, when you hit a node, is it 1,000 for stone? If you hit a stone node, is it 1,000 stone, 2,000 stone, or 3,000 stone that you get from it? Loot scale, same deal. Is there 3 times loot, 2 times loot, 1 times loot, all that. Disable item damage. Items don't lose health, so you could just infinitely use a jackhammer and it never breaks. So I always turn that off. Heli to target players, of course. I mean, usually you want heli to target players. If you don't and you just want it to be easier to take, you can do that, I guess, maybe. Enable Brad, most people want this as well. The higher you turn this, I'm pretty sure the more accurate it gets, or the least accurate. I'm not sure, honestly. I always left it at 2. I never mess with this. This is a little wonky, this one. Damage scale, so if you want heli to do more damage or less damage, I usually just leave those vanilla, honestly. Enable Brad, we lower Brad, so that makes every 30 minutes Brad can respawn after being destroyed. Usually it's 60. So usually if you're running a community server, you want Brad to respawn a little bit quicker so you can keep up the pace, keep that action going, stuff like that. For locked crate decay, this just means in seconds how long it takes before a locked crate disappears if nobody opens it. So that's a couple hours there. Usually I just leave that normal unless you're running like some commands that need this to be changed, but I usually just leave it normal. Time to unlock, how many seconds it takes to unlock the crate, so maybe we could do it like this for like 10 minutes instead of 15. Special events, pretty self-explanatory. Halloween, Xmas, Christmas, all that stuff. So you could do these on your server. They're pretty cool. They're pretty fun. I'm not sure how they are on new gen yet. I haven't tried them yet. But a lot of people do like to run those, so those are cool. Building demo time, 600. This just means after you place a build for 10 minutes, you can break it. So if you want it to be longer, shorter, all that stuff, so you could change something like that, but it's not necessary. Demo hammer, this gives you the God hammer, so you could just hit a build anytime you want and it'll break. I usually leave that off. It's kind of crazy, but depends on your server, of course. Free upgrading, you don't need mats to upgrade. You can just instantly go to like high qual or something. Free construction, again, you could build for free. Bullet damage, bleeding damage, arrow damage. Usually I leave these all vanilla, but I mean, that's up to you. You can turn like arrow damage to like 10 and make arrows insanely OP, and then run kind of like a prim server or something like that. That's, you know, you can do so much stuff that makes it your server and unique, which is really cool about these. But leave that for vanilla for now. Decay upkeep, I never mess with this stuff. I always leave this normal. Upkeep grief protection, this right here, sometimes you can lower it a little bit. I usually don't mess with it though, but you can lower that. So if they get raided, that's how long it takes in minutes before their stuff is fully decayed. So if you set this to like 10 right after a build TC is destroyed, that thing almost immediately starts decaying. So if you have a super high pop server with a ton of bases and stuff, you might want to turn this up a bit so that once somebody does get raided, their build starts decaying, and yeah, just help free up some space on the server. Decay tick, all that stuff. I never mess with any of this, like I said. So usually that's it for that. And then last thing you want to talk about is the map, really. And that's where you go to presets. So we're gonna go to presets here, and this is where you select the preset for your map. If you don't want a preset, then you can go back to where we were before in general. But for now, I'm probably just gonna pick up preset. You don't want to go too crazy, do something super insane, and then with a custom seed, and then it starts getting laggy and you have to wipe it and everything. That's never something you want to do. But you can go here and then change the seed from here if you want and just put a random number in. You could try Rust maps or something like that. I'm not sure if those really work too well with console edition. They're really for PC, but it's worth a try, honestly. But yeah, and that's how you select your map. You can take off monuments here, add monuments, stuff like that. But again, I recommend just using a preset. There's a lot of really good ones in here. You could see the map and everything. Save the picture, throw it up, do a map vote, something like that. But just hit here, save changes. We got our name, we got our pop, you know, it could be 100 max, all that stuff. We got our welcome messages. Boom, just one more look through and we're good. The only thing now that this server would really need for me to launch is my custom boot commands, and I already have them saved, so I'll just go over here, grab my boot commands, run over, paste them in, save changes, and boom, now it's good to go. Now I can start this server up right now, hop on TikTok, hop on YouTube, hop on Facebook, hop on Reddit, wherever, start promoting it like crazy, and my server is good to go. Now if you want the I need wood, I need stone, all of that stuff like that, where you do that and somebody gets a kit, you want to start selling VIP, you want to start doing all that stuff, that's going to be through Discord. I do have a video on how to set up the I need wood. It's the same for Nitrado with Veertech. Once you set up Veertech bot, if you go to Veertech's Discord, they have a quick video, shows you exactly how to set up Nitrado with it. Literally took me 1 minute. Signed in with Nitrado, signed in with Discord, boom, hooked it up, bought premium too, and then immediately went to work. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Changes are saved, start server, we're good to go. I'm gonna start it up right now, and then what I would do now is hop into Discord, add that server onto the Veertech bot, buy premium, set up all my I need wood, I need scrap, and then go promote the server, and it's good to go. That's it, homies. I mean, that's how you do it. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'm always down to help, no gatekeeping. Try to do this shit as quick as possible, but